starting to feel like Formula One is I don't understand the rules.
The greatest Formula One champion of all time.
And Formula One is that it's like a traveling
circus of Spain.
and adrenaline.
Except I am from Formula.
People know NASCAR, but people don't, because Formula One is like, it's a whole different thing.
Box and pre-confirm and welcome to the Redefined F1 show, the show where we put American subtitles in the sport of Formula One. I'm your host, Frederick Kernigan. With me, as always, Michael Zimmerman.
Hey, how's it going?
Today, we wanted to bring you guys a special episode. It is, or when you guys should be watching this, it's right around the NFL draft time. So we're doing a what if Formula One had an NFL-style draft. Going over a few ground rules here. Timmy and I are going to do alternating picks. Timmy has the first overall pick. Then myself, we are using the 2021 constructor standings, just like how the NFL would use the season prior standings. And we're doing first team or lowest team. So Haas gets first pick versus Mercedes gets the last pick of each round. We're doing 2 rounds. We're only doing 2 drivers. The final rule is nothing changes. So what the car is today, how the team is made up today, isn't going to be affected other than they have possibly two new drivers. So before we get into those picks, Timmy, who do you want the Bears to draft? The 2022 NFL draft.
So the Bears don't have a first round pick because technically our first round pick was Justin Fields of last year, traded to the Giants. So we don't pick till the second round. I hope we go wide receiver or offensive line, or maybe secondary. Like we have a lot of holes on our team, so we need to we just really need to kind of go best available, in my opinion. But most needs are wide receiver, offensive line, and secondary.
Okay, dream NFL pick for your team.
The Ohio State wide receiver, Chris
Olave.
Chris Olave. There's no way he's gonna fall all the way down. There's too many like wide receiver hungry teams. But
Yes.
for whatever reason he did, that would be really good to reconnect him with Justin Fields.
Okay, solid pick. The Chargers have the 17th overall pick in the first round. We're attached, or Chris Olave is attached to the Chargers. However, I don't want to go receiver first round. I either want to go right tackle or DB because, you know, with how the AFC West is, it's kind of air raid heavy, just weapons all over the field.
Nuclear. They went nuclear during the
So
offseason.
we need all the help, possible. So right tackle, I think Trevor Penning is the name that's attached to us. I don't want him purely because all of his highlights is him throwing the DN into the quarterback's ankles. Don't want that. So I think Charles Cross would be my offensive tackle pick. But for DB, my wet dream would be Kyle Hamilton, him and Derwin James safeties. That'd just be, Chargers wet dream.
Yeah.
However, I don't think he's falling out of top 10.
No, he might not fall out of top 5.
Yeah. So dream pick, Kyle Hamilton. Onto our Formula One draft. Timmy has the first overall pick with the Haas Formula One team. You are now on the clock.
And we're submitting our pick right away. No hesitation. We're going with the man that is destroying the grid right now, Charles Leclerc. If K-Mag is able to qualify and get points in the Haas, Charles Leclerc is going to be perfectly fine in that car. Like I think as of right now, he is the best driver on the grid. I know you can argue Max, but even with the Ferrari last year, when it was like suboptimal, he was getting poles. He was fighting with Max and against Lewis, who had way better cars. So I think purely from a driving perspective, Charles is the best driver, and he is rightfully the number 1 overall pick.
It's fair. No surprise, zero surprise.
Zero
surprise. When I was making my draft board, didn't even bother putting Charles Leclerc as an option. He was the unanimous first overall. I'm now on the clock as the Alfa Romeo Formula One team. And my first overall pick I had a few options to go to, and I think if you listen to any draft day coverage, you're always going to hear best available, best available. The other best available is Max Verstappen. He's the best in my opinion. That's just like my slight bias, but Alpha, they have the Ferrari ties, but there isn't another Ferrari driver who's going to persuade you not to sign Max Verstappen. The only Ferrari driver would be Charles Leclerc, as like you just drafted, or if Michael Schumacher somehow came back as a 24-year-old Michael Schumacher. Yeah, but that's not happening. So Max Verstappen is now the number one driver for Alfa Romeo. You are now on the clock.
So now Williams is selecting, and I think I'm going maybe a little different direction that people might have assumed, but I am selecting Sergio Perez for the Williams.
Why? Why have you done this? You ruined my board.
Board buster. Sergio Perez has been showing that he is not just the Mexican Minister of Defense, but as Fred put it today during the qualifying,
he's just the supreme commander of the Mexican army. He can defend, attack, all of it.
He has been putting together amazing qualifying and races this year. So to me, he was the third best available driver as of right now. And the Williams and Haas are looking real strong right now.
Okay. This is interesting. All right. I wasn't expecting you to go Sergio Perez, for being honest. All right. So I am now on the clock as Aston Martin Formula One team. So I was expecting him to be off the board, but I'm surprisingly not going to go with him. So the pick who I ended up choosing, Aston Martin wanting a young driver who has shown results. He can handle the pressure. He's also got the British tie, and I think he's a part of the new wave. He's going to be here for a cool minute. Lando Norris. Driver one for Aston Martin.
So sorry, Lando. So sorry.
I think Aston Martin, as they are right now, they know they're building for the team, so they're not going to go draft old. So the elder statesman, Britishman, or I guess Knight. I won't say his name yet because I'm pretty sure he'll be drafted in a little bit here, but he's a little bit too old for their wants. They're looking for the future. They know it's the long game, so they went with the younger option in Lando Norris. You are now on the clock as the AlphaTauri Formula One team.
So, I mean, we already got the story of the draft going. How far does Lewis Hamilton slide? The answer is he's going to continue to slide because, as Fred just put it with Aston Martin, they're thinking long term. AlphaTauri is the B team, you'd say, or the developmental team for Red Bull. Mm-hmm. So they're not looking for a 7-time world champion. They're looking to develop people. So I believe the pick for AlphaTauri is going to be George Russell as their first overall pick.
George Russell in blue and white, but not Williams blue and white. I don't hate that pick. I think it would just, suck. George just got into, in real life, a number, like a top competing team, but in our fake little draft here, he's back into developmental team. No competing for you yet, George. Onto the next pick of the first round. I am now on the clock as the Alpine Renault F1 team. Alpine also looking towards the future, but they're the only French team. And so a little bit of, home country bias might be playing into effect. However, in my opinion, there is a clear top Frenchman and a clear bottom Frenchman. We're gonna go with the better choice. We went with number one driver for Alpine Renault is Pierre Gasly.
Wow.
Yeah. They want to continue developing their car, so they're not gonna go ageless wonder just yet. But I think they're gonna keep the Frenchman in the French team, in the French blue, and hopefully they can get him a French dub. But on to the next pick. You are now on the clock as the McLaren Mercedes F1 team.
To steal the draft, McLaren. They sat, they didn't trade up, they didn't do anything. And look who just fell right into their laps. Going back to his roots. McLaren select the 7-time world champion with the 7th overall pick. It writes itself. Lewis Hamilton going back to the papaya orange team.
That would be the greatest full circle of all time.
We didn't plan this ahead of time, by the way. Like, I had no idea what Fred's draft is.
Yeah. We kept it very, very, very separated.
This like these storylines just are writing themselves, and it's beautiful. I'm loving how it's coming out. It's amazing.
Oh, you know what would be gross though? So McLaren. Oh, sorry, Checo foul. But Lewis McLaren Lewis, when he first started with him, was driving the silver car, one of the nicest cars ever in Formula One.
Oh.
Now, if this theoretical draft were to happen, he'd be stuck in one of the ugliest cars to ever grace a Formula One grid. On to the next pick, the 8th overall pick. Ferrari Formula One team selects. My original pick was Lewis Hamilton. I thought he would fall down to Ferrari, but I have backups here. We went with their current 2nd driver, who's not half bad himself. He's just having a little bit of a tough time right now, but he will get a handle of it. Carlos Sainz. And I think, in real life, they signed him to an extension, so they even agree that they like him. So Carlos Sainz is now the number 1 driver for Ferrari rather than second fiddle to Charles.
I'd argue that's a better situation for Carlos, as now he doesn't have the pressure to fight against this beast of a driver, Charles,
who's been stuck in the team for a cool minute before.
Yeah,
so, I agree.
That's a solid pick for the red team.
Mm-hmm. Ferrari wouldn't hate it, and Carlos Sainz would love it.
Yeah.
All right, on to the 9th overall selection of the first round of the 2022 Formula One draft. Red Bull Racing is now on the clock.
Oh,
I was very interested to see your pick on this one.
What does Red Bull do?
What do you do, Timmy? What do you so I'm not speaking to Timmy right now. I'm speaking to Helmut Marko. Speaking to Christian Horner. What do you do? Who are you going with the pick?
Oh man, this is tough. Because there's for me, I think 3, maybe 4 options. Okay, I won't go there. Okay, I got it.
Who are you going with?
The Red Bull Racing team are going to select a proven vet. The man who was once their enemy is now their number 1 driver. Valtteri Bottas is now rocking the red and blue on the Red Bull team.
I'm sorry, that's so gross to me. That would be gross. 77 on the Red Bull car.
Yeah. He's been proving to still have it with Alfa Romeo.
I would love to see his laid-back character and Christian Horner. It's an conversation.
Yeah, they're two completely different type of personalities, but they'll make it work.
Give Valtteri Bottas a chance to beat Lewis for real.
Yeah.
That interesting. Okay. And with the final pick of the first round, with the 10th overall pick, the Mercedes Formula One team is selecting Sebastian Vettel as their number one driver. They need the veteran like point of view to help them get through. Say Seb was in the silver shit box instead of the green shit box. He's been in a good amount of cars to help walk a team through, just like how Lewis Hamilton, he would do the same role as Lewis Hamilton, the veteran voice in the room. You trust him, you know what he's doing, or he knows what he's doing, and the team just would operate smoothly. I think it would be interesting to see Sebastian Vettel with Toto. I don't think it'd be as close as Toto and Lewis, but not a lot of team principal and driver pairings are. On to the second round of the Formula One 2022 draft. Who is Haas Formula One team's second pick? I just realized both of my picks for Alpha are off the board. I have to rethink about this now.
Haas, they're all in. They're going best available driver, regardless of what they're able to put into the car, regardless of their budget situations. They're selecting a former two-time champion, a 40-year-old vet that are still putting these young bucks in their place. Fernando Alonso will be joining Charles Leclerc for the Haas F1 team.
Ew. I just pictured both of them in Haas overalls.
Haas is consistently scoring points now. I feel confident about that.
That'd be a spicy partnering, like someone who's obviously the face of the future versus someone who doesn't like being written off. So that would get spicy. That'd be a real spicy
the competition, the competitiveness will just propel Fernando.
Fair enough. I like that pick. Nah, I don't like the pick for the team. I guess Haas would get two good drivers, and we as American F1 fans take pride in Haas. But I like it more so because that'd be a spicy teammate rivalry. The second pick of the second round in the 2022 Formula One draft, Alfa Romeo is going to want. They had Kimi and Antonio, they worked together very well. Kimi didn't hate Antonio. Antonio not looked up to Kimi, but used Kimi as the bar. They now have Valtteri and Guan Yu Zhou in real life, and that seems to be a pair that works together. They're going to reunite a pair that worked pretty damn well, besides, a few races, but that's neither here or there. But Alfa Romeo's second driver is going to be Daniel Ricciardo. Yep, the Max and Daniel combo is back. Just this time it's in red and white.
Oh, whoa. They did not work together well.
Yeah, but they were friends off the track. They're friendly. At least I see clips of them laughing and joking around.
Yeah, maybe they'll be more friendly when they're not competing.
Yeah, because now it's mature Max and a little bit older Danny. But we'll
interesting. See. Okay.
All hypothetical.
Yeah, I'll make believe.
Third pick of the second round, Williams Mercedes F1 team. You're not on the clock. Who does Williams go for?
I kind of feel bad, but at the same time, I think it kind of just makes sense for Williams and who they are as a team. Unfortunately, instead of being the first driver or the number one driver for Williams, He's now getting demoted to number 2 driver, working with Sergio Perez. The tire god gets matched up with the demi tire god, Alex Albon. The Williams are unstoppable. The pit crew doesn't need to worry about anything because both of them are going the whole race on the same set of tires.
It'll be one stop for both of them, but it'll be Checo last lap and then Alex second to last lap. I'm gonna teach you, young one. I'm going to teach you.
I'm liking the parents of the tire gods.
Oh my god. Well, Williams would have to be sponsored by like their own tire company at that point. Pirelli, we got it from here. That's pretty good pick. I like that. Onto the 4th overall selection of the second round, the Aston Martin Formula One team. I think it's pretty obvious. You know how messed up it would be if Lawrence Stroll didn't draft his son?
And how could he though?
That would be an extremely awkward Christmas. Or just like any family gathering. Hey dad, you remember the time you didn't draft me? Since we're only doing 2 drivers, I have to draft him as the second driver. So he's maintaining his role. He's not like getting bumped up, nor is he getting bumped out. It's Lance Stroll, Sir Lancelot. So nothing much more to say about that. The dad needed to do it. Or else
Too
the mom
nice.
yeah.
I would have let him walk.
Son, you're not cutting it.
I see what you're putting out on that track. It's just I'm here to make money, not pay attention to your feelings.
You're drafting as if Mr. Krabs was the team principal. Money.
Exactly.
The 5th overall pick in the second round, the AlphaTauri Formula One team selects.
They're gonna stay young. They're the developmental team for Red Bull, and they're gonna go with Esteban Ocon, who's developing and kind of hopefully still turning the corner, but he's definitely a lot better than what he was a couple years ago. So AlphaTauri is hopefully going to be able to continue that development for him.
That's fair. Maybe extend his career, Yeah. I'm glad you have him coming off the board because I didn't have him coming off my boards.
I didn't have Strolls anywhere near my board. I didn't even put him or Latifi on my board.
Latifi he's social distancing from my board. With the 16th overall pick of the 2022 Formula One draft, the Alpine Formula One team is selecting who is going to be the face of their future. Oscar Piastri. He's the last year's Formula 2 world champion. So he's currently just doing his duties as test reserve driver for them / TV host sometimes for Formula or F1 TV. So I feel like he deserves a seat. You ask anyone who's a part of that Alpine program or anyone who's watched F2, I think he's one of the more exciting prospects to come within a good while. And so they wouldn't think twice about getting him or just bumping him up really, because he's already their test and reserve driver. On to the next pick. Who do you have McLaren taking with the 17th overall?
McLaren, they're going best available driver. There's only one guy this season who's been able to consistently kind of punch above his weight class. Teaming up with the 7-time world champion, Lewis Hamilton, will be the one and only Kevin Magnussen.
Oh, thank you, God. That's a good pick, though.
It is. It's a good team. It's a solid team right there.
I think doing this kind of draft, or like even like the drafts I'm at in, that little bit of anxiety where like I hope my guy doesn't get picked. I could not imagine that being for realsies. like an NFL team waiting for their like future quarterback. Please, please, please. No one wanted to trade up with us. Please, please. But so it's Lewis Hamilton and
Kevin Magnussen
K-Mag.
for the Papaya Orange.
Such
team.
an odd team.
Hey, they'll make it work.
I'm trying to think of like a storyline. Like you have like the Tire God duo, you have the former like Red Bull duo, you have the young goat, and then the old head with like Charles and a
Alonso.
I'm trying to think of like a connection K-Mag and Lewis has. I don't think they really have any.
Here's the connection. They're gonna be scoring points, and a lot of them.
Fake McLaren hope so. With their second pick in the 2022 draft, I have the Ferrari Formula One team drafting the son of their Lord and Savior, God/deity. They're drafting his son, Mick Schumacher.
Schumacher has returned.
Back in
Back
red,
home.
baby. That would, you know how much pressure that would be?
Oh, so much. I don't
So
know
much.
if he wants to go to Ferrari because of how much pressure that's
think-
gonna put on him.
I mean, like, he's already like he's in the Ferrari like program, so he's like destined to. But that's just like that'd be
Insane.
like Bronny going to the Cavs. But that's just so much pressure. Like, hey, your dad brought us a lot of success. If you don't, we're gonna boo you.
Yeah,
That'd be
but
crazy.
what he's teamed up with
Carlos Sainz.
Carlos, so good vet rookie kind
Oh
of.
yeah, Carlos Sainz. I don't think he's had any like, not that I know of, but like any like teammate like, I don't like you. I
Yeah,
don't
Carlos
know.
has always been a really, really good teammate. So,
Yeah.
which is really good for Mick's development, as he
Mhm.
still hasn't reached that point of,
I'm him. But
I'm
yeah.
him. Yeah.
Yeah.
But hopefully I don't think he'll ever reach like the level of his dad, just because it just seems like the sons usually don't.
Mhm.
But hopefully he comes into his own in the upcoming years.
Yeah. And then he could learn from Carlos Sainz.
Yes, he can.
All right. With the 19th pick of the 2022 Formula One draft, who do you have as Red Bull's last selection?
Red Bull, the Red Bull racing team has liked what they've seen from this duo. So they're going to keep them together. The rookie driver has beat all expectations of him. No one had any faith in him. And the Red Bull aren't drafting Latifi, and there's really not a lot of options out there. So
Christian Horner on the mic to Nick Latifi would be hilarious. Nicholas again.
So the Red Bull racing team are selecting Zhou Guanyu,
Interesting.
making the pairing of Bottas and Zhou sticking together as best friends. No.
Interesting. I personally would have said Yuki, but like we just said off screen, Yuki's probably gonna lose a seat. So maybe even looked at one of the F2 guys. But they have two F2 guys that are like, one of them had all the hype last year and now a different one has all the hype. So
The problem is my scouting report is very limited, and I don't know any F2 driver besides Oscar, because he's the only one I hear about or
That's
have
fair.
seen.
It's fair. Yuri Vips is a Red Bull youngin who's going to be, hopefully makes it to F1. And then Liam Lawson, that's personally who I want, because I'm all for the Kiwis. But he's also another Red Bull young guy.
I'm sure in a realistic, real life draft, that's who they would have picked. But in our little fantasy world, and with my limited knowledge of drivers, we're going Zhou.
So Guan Yu Zhou makes up the Red Bull second driver. And with the final selection, Mr. Irrelevant, I guess, last year this was a pretty coveted spot, but Mercedes second driver, you took Alex away from me, which makes me sad because I would have loved to see Alex in a Merc. However, I'm going to use your same reasoning that you use for Red Bull. They're not picking up Latifi. They're not going to go someone who's out of, like, who's had a seat and has lost it. So they're not going to go Hulk. They're not going to go Antonio. They're going to go with someone who's been sitting in their like secret weapon compartment. I don't know, but they're going to go Nick DeVries. He is currently driving for Formula E, the Formula E team. He's also not a half bad Formula 2 driver, but he's just always stuck within that Mercedes program. So it'd be pretty easy for Toto just be like, Nick, you finally have your chance. Get in there. So we lose one bad Nick and get hopefully a better Nick. So yeah. Before we close out the episode, we're just going to go through the driver pairings one more time. So the Haas Formula 1 team is made up of
Charles and Fernando Alonso.
The Alfa Romeo team is made out of Max Verstappen and Daniel Ricciardo.
The Williams is the team of the tire gods of Sergio Perez and Alex Albon.
Aston Martin is made up of a young duo with Lando Norris and obviously Lance Stroll.
AlphaTauri also went young with George Russell and who did I go with? Did I go Esteban? Yeah. AlphaTauri went young with, AlphaTauri went with young talent as well with a pairing of George Russell and Esteban Ocon.
The Alpine Formula 1 team, they went with their hometown guy and then also their future star. They went with Pierre Gasly and Oscar Piastri.
McLaren went for best available drivers who could score the most points with the 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton and also the man himself, Kevin Magnussen.
K-Mag. The Ferrari's team is made up of Carlos Sainz and Mick Schumacher. So second driver and legacy.
And the Red Bull Racing team didn't have a lot of options, so they just went with what was best available for them, which ended up to be Valtteri Bottas and Guan Yu Zhou.
And with all that being said, that was our 2022 Fantasy Formula 1 NFL style draft. Email, write down in the comments who you guys think team would perform better. The Haas made up of Charles and Alonso, or maybe even the Ferrari made up of Carlos Sainz and Mick Schumacher.
Also, we would like to know what your thoughts on our picks and how we did. Let us know who you thought the steal of the draft was. Was it Lewis Hamilton sliding all the way down to 7th overall for landing in McLaren? Or was it Sebastian Vettel, who Red Bull passed up and he ended up at Mercedes? We would also love to know who you thought was the reach of the draft. Was Oscar picked too high? Was Mick picked for Ferrari? Unproven?
I think.
Let us know.
My personal opinion, I think Sergio Perez was reach. That threw me off so much. But
that too. Maybe Williams is reaching with Sergio Perez. I wasn't gonna put my pick out there.
All right. With all that being said, you guys take it easy.
Explain the difference.
Yeah, Formula One is the pinnacle of motorsport.